the future always starts now. Some people choose to seize that moment and shape what comes next. Their acts of resilience don't always make the headlines, but we're here to tell you their stories. Hello and welcome. I am Sadhika Tiwari and you're watching Eco India. Whether it is women farmers facing the changing climate or citizens tackling urban waste issues, this episode is to remind us that impact doesn't always have to be loud to be powerful. A high number of farmer suicides. That's what makes the headlines when reports focus on Marathwada, a region in Maharashtra. Farming here has never been easy. Water is scarce, crops often fail, and even when there's a good harvest, it doesn't guarantee fair prices. What rarely makes it to the news is the story of the women who farm this land. These women are struggling for years, and for them this is not just a livelihood, it's a fight for survival. As the weather becomes even more unpredictable, these women are refusing to give up. This is their story.
This is nothing short of a miracle. It rarely rains in the inhospitable areas of the Dharamshi district of Maharashtra. Nevertheless, the farmers here manage to grow crops on their fields. They have learned how to do this over the centuries. For the past 10 years or so, however, there have been repeated and sudden heavy downpours, so heavy that entire harvests are lost. Sangamitra Ankush Rao lives in Bamni, a village in the district. The work of the 42-year-old here in the fields is becoming increasingly unpredictable.
This May, we were not expecting rainfall to affect our sowing. We no longer know when to do what. Now we have finished sowing. Still, there is no rainfall.
Sugarcane and soybeans are the region's most important crops, but they are sensitive. The timing of sowing, rainfall, and periods during growth have to be right. Due to the unpredictable weather, Sangamitra's father repeatedly suffered heavy losses on his fields. He made many mistakes back then, Sangamitra tells us.
We did not know, for example, that we could use our own homegrown seeds. My father used to buy them. He also used pesticides, and any other profits were spent on buying more seeds. Losses piled up, and any revenue went on purchasing seeds, fertilizer, etc.
Some time ago, Sangamitra took over the work on her father's farm, and she has made quite a few changes. With a seed drill, she can sow the grain faster and more efficiently. Drip irrigation ensures that the plants get enough water, but never too much. She built the pond for rainwater herself, and she got rid of her father's monoculture plantations.
I have adopted the Sari technique. There are 3 types of crops, and I am growing gawar, mirchi, shepu in one Sari line. These are 3 useful crops.
The soybeans were lost in the heavy rains 2 years ago, but the yields from other crops helped her get through the year. She does not use pesticides and makes her own fertilizer. Sangamitra learned everything she knows from Swayam Shikshan Prayog, or SSP for short. This grassroots women's empowerment organization has been working to promote women's rights for more than 20 years. In workshops lasting several weeks, women learn the basics of sustainable agriculture. This is traditional farming and includes predicting weather patterns based on animal behavior.
If birds make their nest high in the tree, then it means there will be less rain. When they nest lower down, it means there will be heavy rains.
In addition, women here are taught basic economic skills, knowledge most of them lack. As in most parts of India, women here have no right to own land.
अजून एक गोष्ट लक्षात आली की महिला ह्या 70 ते 80%
We have discovered that 70 to 80% of women work on farms from preparation to harvesting. When the harvest is over, their husbands sell the products in the market.
पॅक करायचा गोणीमध्ये आणि हजबंड काय करायचा की तो माल नेऊन मार्केटमध्ये
In the end, the women's profit is zero.
काम करते हार्वेस्ट करून पूर्ण करते ते झिरो राहिली.
SSP has been helping women for some time now to have their land transferred from their families to their own names. Here in the district, 2% of women have succeeded in acquiring their own land. Getting this far has been a slog.
किमान महिला
We realized that if women became involved in decision making and generated income, the whole family would benefit, and women would be involved in this way. So I started telling male farmers in each home, say you have 10 acres of land, give 1 acre to her and let her farm it.
त्यांच्या मर्जीने करण्यासाठी द्या.
Suvarna Mote owns her own land. Her husband died in an accident, leaving behind the 30-year-old and her 2 children. With the organization's help, she managed, albeit in a roundabout way, to have 2 hectares of land owned by her parents-in-law transfer to her own name. It was clear to her from the outset that she would do things very differently from her husband.
My husband used to grow soybeans and sugarcane. That required a lot of chemical pesticides and a lot of water.
Suvarna too now cultivates her fields using traditional methods, which enable her to better withstand the uncertainties of climate change. SSP struggles to convince families, and especially men, to give part of their land to women. Government programs help in that respect.
It enables women to gain security, while on the other hand, male farmers realize that by giving their wives land rights, they will receive subsidies and crop insurance.
More than 16,000 women in this region have got their own land thanks to SSP. And the use of traditional farming methods is helping them better withstand the unpredictability of climate change.
Dharavi is one of the most densely populated spaces in the world, spread across 500 acres in Mumbai. Despite cramped spaces and poor infrastructure, the slum is critical to the city's economy, with thousands of small businesses packed into its narrow lanes. At the heart of all of this is a massive informal recycling system that is built on resourcefulness, and it works.
The annual economic output of Dharavi, often labelled as Asia's largest slum, is close to €1 billion, a tidy sum for this crowded informal settlement. Each narrow lane leads to a business worth thousands of euros. Plastic recycling employs a lot of people in Dharavi, and close to 60% of Mumbai's plastic waste is recycled here. If it weren't for the work done here, Mumbai would resemble a massive plastic garbage heap. We separate paper, water bottles, packaging and other items that are dumped across the city. Bottles fetch 2 rupees, water containers 10 rupees, paper 9 rupees. If we collect a lot of waste, we can sell it for 300 to 400 rupees each day. During festivals, we can earn 500 to 600 rupees a day. And when we don't work, we earn less. Every day, 600 tons of Mumbai's waste finds its way to Dharavi. From this waste, plastic bottles, aluminium cans, cardboard, and electronic items are sorted, cleaned, and sent for recycling. Dharavi's recycling industry brings in revenues of 10 million euros annually and feeds thousands of families. However, most workers in this industry operate without basic safety precautions. Despite knowing the risks, they must undertake these dangers for their daily income. It's just our luck. What can we do? We pick through the garbage. Because of this, we get skin issues and other health problems, and I have to take medicines regularly.
माल चुन के ना लाएं तो
By collecting waste, the city's garbage is considerably reduced. We select what's needed, sort it by quality, and sell it. This is how much of the plastic ends up recycled. If this stops someday, the traffic will come to a standstill. Each shop like this buys 300 kilos of waste. Imagine if all this is piled up in garbage bins. From morning to evening, the waste collected for recycling is sorted and sent to recycling centers. Here, the old plastic is transformed into new products. All of this is plastic. It looks like steel, but it's plastic. Mohammed says that Dharavi's recycling industry makes India's financial capital somewhat livable. In this part of the Dharavi market, business worth 10,000 euros is transacted daily. These are PET bottles. When recycled, they are turned into polyester, which is used to make saris and footwear. 15 years ago, there was no solution for this. But without recycling, sewage systems would overflow. And during the rainy season, water wouldn't drain, causing stagnation. Worse, if this waste ends up in the Arabian Sea, it'll harm marine life and the fish we catch from the sea. Recycled products from Dharavi are also exported to countries like Indonesia and South Africa. The use of plastic is exploding in most of India's cities, and recycling has become essential.
Plastic recycling is a compulsory for the Mumbai, all over India.
The burden of urban waste is mostly carried by the poor, and Dharavi is no exception. But a handful of entrepreneurs have managed to turn this into a lucrative business.
You'd think a city like Gurugram, one of India's technical and financial hubs, would have its waste problem sorted. But when 85% of its waste is not even segregated, the problem quickly begins to pile up in landfills behind the shadows of tall, blingy, high-rise commercial and residential buildings. Some citizens, though, are refusing to look away, and they're not really waiting for the system to fix itself. They're keeping a close watch and making sure that the city does not look away.
Not the place for a typical snapshot. Monica Khanna Gulati wants to capture every last detail. She's often out and about in Gurugram photographing illegal dumps.
It's a health hazard for everybody who stays here, for the low-income communities which stay on this side of the road and for the better off people of the city who live on this side of the road.
This dump is located directly on one of Gurugram's trunk roads. The city is part of the Greater Delhi area and is one of India's major financial and technology hubs. Monica Gulati finds its existence completely unacceptable. She regularly gets in touch with the city authorities and passes on photos and information. She hopes that the illegal site will finally be cleared.
The desire of all citizens is that we want a livable city, something which is free of waste, it has clean air, and hosts a environmentally friendly supporting system which allows people to live a healthy life.
The Citizens Supervisory Committee was set up in 2018. Monica is one of its members. They come from various areas of civil society, are environmental experts or former government employees. Their aim is to show where the city's waste management system is still not working and where urgent action is needed.
We strongly put forward a suggestion for a monitoring mechanism which could at least oversee what was being done.
More than 2 million people live in Gurugram, and yet 85% of its waste is not sorted and recycled properly. The result? Overflowing municipal landfills and illegal dumps. The biggest problem is posed by bulk waste generators, such as housing estates, companies, schools, or even public authorities. Anywhere where at least 100 kilograms of waste is produced every day. Mo Sengupta from the Center for Science and Environment says the vast majority often simply don't comply with the law.
The legal mandate for them as a waste generator There are 3-4 basic mandates. The first one is they have to segregate their waste at source. The second one is they have to manage their organic waste within their premises as far as possible, which we call in situ organic waste management. And thirdly, they have to hand over the rest of the waste, the residual waste, to the authorized waste collector.
Here, organic waste is being separated from normal waste and then properly recycled. This plant is part of a housing estate. Bulk waste generators don't have to be a problem. Citizen Supervisory Committee members regularly visit facilities like this one to monitor how well they're working. Residents here have to do their bit too, of course. Garbage collectors can then pick up the separated waste and take it to the appropriate disposal points. To help refine the system, the Citizen Supervisory Committee members are in close contact with the Housing Society. But this example is still an exception here. Providing efficient large-scale waste separation presents a huge challenge to the authorities. The committee's work is therefore all the more appreciated.
Gurugram is a metropolitan city, so a huge number of around the 1600 ton waste is produced per day. So to tackle that, we need a good mechanism, and also we need the public support also. So segregation is the major issue, which we think that which is a major hurdle for us.
The Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs estimates that up to 40% of waste in Indian cities comes from bulk waste generators. While a few housing societies are already separating waste, others are at square one. Between 2022 and 2023, the Centre for Science and Environment developed a portal for the registration of bulk waste generators in Gurugram. There are said to be around 3,000 of them, but only 200 separate their waste and dispose of it properly. Environmentalist Smita Ahuja helped develop the portal.
The idea is to map the BWGs completely, give them a unique identity, capture their full details, and also on a weekly and monthly basis, understand their segregation and processing levels, making them accountable for that last bit that is being generated.
To finally find and record all waste producers and set up a professional refuse disposal system everywhere, nothing would please Monica Khanna Gulati more. She hopes the expansion of illegal dumps can be stopped and the sites quickly cleared. But there's still a long way to go before the metropolis of Gurugram can get its garbage problem under control.
Owls are often deeply misunderstood. They're even linked to superstitions across many parts of the world. They're often feared for being nocturnal and quiet creatures. In India too, they're both feared and worshipped. But there are many people across Germany who have made it their mission to protect these quiet, elusive birds. Let's take a look at what's being done to protect this endangered species, one bird at a time.
On owl patrol in a fruit orchard. Andrea Kavitzel and Jonas Bora are conservation volunteers. In summer, they monitor nesting boxes set up by an owl protection society, here between Bonn and Cologne in western Germany. The boxes are specifically for little owls, one of the 10 species of owls that breed in Germany. That looks good. If you get 5 chicks that hatch, that's great. You can be proud. It always depends on what food is on offer. A good habitat, a good brood, and lots of young owls that the parent birds can feed. I'm going to get them out now. There are 4 chicks in this nesting box, a successful brood. The parent birds are sitting nearby, watching what is happening to their offspring. The health and the age of the young owls is being checked. They look well. These 4 are approximately 2 weeks old. To allow conservationists to monitor the birds' distribution, the chicks are fitted with identification rings. Once male little owls establish their territory, they tend to hunt close to their nests, as long as there is enough food on offer.
Owls tend to hunt a lot on the ground. They can pounce on their prey from low perches, but they also run a lot. They chase mice, they eat earthworms or beetles. Because they move a lot on the ground, it's important to have short grass.
For little owls, finding a perfect home in Germany is increasingly difficult.
The problem is that orchard meadows are also always on the edge of villages, and they often have to make way for new building projects. There are also no grazing areas anymore, so the best habitats close to villages are being lost.
Disappearing habitats are a problem for many owl species, but there are also success stories. Using webcams, the Society for the Preservation of Owls, EGE, guards the nests of Germany's largest owl, the Eurasian eagle owl. In the 1960s, it was on the brink of extinction. Now there are some 850 breeding pairs in Germany. Onto the next box. There are 75 in the area. This year, about half contain little owl broods. The Society has been looking after owls for some 35 years.
They make a good impression. Promising. The tawny owl is one of the least endangered owl species here in Germany. They don't need looking after or any habitat protection measures. They can look after themselves. The most endangered remain Eurasian eagle owls and the little owls here. Barn owls are also in the top 3.
Some birds need more help than the owl conservationist can provide. That's where Dirk Sindhu comes in. He set up an animal rescue service for birds of prey. Abandoned chicks, injured and ailing birds are brought here and restored to health.
We aim to ensure animals can return to the wild. If they came to me for food, that wouldn't happen.
In summer, up to 15 birds a day arrive in his shelter. Some had got into pretty sticky situations.
This bird was fished out of the Rhine 2 weeks ago by the fire service. It was still wet and very weak when it came to us.
But Dirk Sindhu can't do his work alone.
We work together with surrogate parents. We have little owls that rear young birds for us, and an eagle owl, and a tawny owl. We also have buzzards that act as surrogates. The old birds can always do it better than us.
But sometimes he does have to step in himself when there isn't a veteran bird to swoop in.
We have to make sure all of them get the same amount.
The most rewarding moment is when Dirk Sindhu can release a healthy bird back into the wild. Today it's the turn of a common buzzard that was found trapped in a gymnasium, completely exhausted, a few weeks ago.
That's all for today's episode. The one thing that stood out in all of today's stories was the quiet determination to keep going, to step in when the system falls short, and to protect what matters even when no one is watching. Do you know of anyone doing this kind of work around you? Do let us know, and do not forget to follow us on our Instagram at DW_environment for more stories like this.
You can be a mosquito hunter for science. People are collecting mosquitoes for a health database in Germany. Each mosquito helps map the bigger picture. This is the Mosquito Atlas, a citizen science project. Mosquito hunters put their finds in a container and freeze them. Now, let's fill out some forms. Then, the mosquito can embark on a journey to a research center near Berlin. Here, experts identify the mosquitoes by species. They record information about the collection site in a database. This map shows the Asian bush mosquito spread in Germany, 2012 versus 2024. They can carry vector-borne diseases. Every year, around 700,000 people die from malaria, dengue, and yellow fever. Mosquito-borne diseases mostly affect people living in the tropics and subtropics. As the planet warms up, mosquitoes are conquering new territories. Research projects like this can help us stay one step ahead of these bloodthirsty insects.
Thank you so much for joining us. I will see you next week with more such stories. Until then, take care, goodbye, namaskar.